I played the demo for this stream at the beginning of February. Didn't really know what I was expecting. Didn't really expect to like the game, but I am in love with this, and you'll see why pretty quickly as to why I love it. So yeah, this is gonna be our Tuesday thing for a little while. Big Ambitions is moving to Monday. You'll see episode 3 of that next week. Couple of schedule changes that'll be happening. This will be happening on Tuesday, and then we'll be starting. It'll be the show as well. So yeah, let's get into the campaign. I think for posterity's sake, maybe we do the tutorial again. I did do it on my own, but so I think we're actually gonna play as an Allied Nations campaign. Started in 1914 on the it's locked in. It's soldier difficulty. So we're gonna start in 1914, and yeah, let's begin the campaign. In terms of prettiness and how this game looks, it looks wonderful. It's optimized pretty darn well for a pretty big name game. It's only about an 8 gigabyte install. It's $34.99 unless you get the Victory Edition, which has some extra bits like a soundtrack and a field guide. $39.99, not too bad, honestly. But anyway, December 1914, Strategic Front Line. The onset of war in August 1914 was viewed with confidence by the peoples of Europe. Few imagined how long or disastrous the Great War could be, and most believed the war was a necessity to defend against the might of their oppressors. Many had a sense of patriotism and positivity, and most believed the war would be over within a few months. By December, it had begun to set in that the war would not be over anytime soon.
With the death of the Archduke, Europe is propelled into chaos. Nations honoring treaties and alliances forged years before are now plunged into a conflict they cannot avoid, sparked by a single gunshot. Here on the Western Front, nations draw their battle lines. The Central Powers of Austria-Hungary and Germany now face the combined alliance of France, Britain, and their colonies. The Great War is about to begin.
General, sir, we have word from General Haig. The BEF have successfully crossed the channel and halted the German advance. But the Germans have established trenches along the northern crest. Machine guns and artillery barrages are proving far too lethal for open warfare. That and they have us trumped on heavy weaponry. Ours cannot stand up to their quantity, caliber, or range.
Our counter-offensive had them pushed back from the Marne. What of our efforts to encircle them?
They have the higher ground here, sir.
What of the French?
We have retaken the eastern tip of Chemin des Dames, but further progress has been negligible. We are at an impasse out there, I'm afraid.
Send word to our men to entrench also.
Sir, I fear we may not have the experience for this type of warfare.
Have heavy artillery rushed over from England. We cannot risk another retreat like at Mons. It looks like we'll be settling in for the long haul. We must push back into Belgium. If we don't outflank the enemy, then we will be at a stalemate.
Thus the Western Front was established. From the fields of Flanders to the borders of Switzerland, the great nations would make their stand. The fate of millions was now in the hands of a few.
Alright, the Allied Campaign 1914. As Germany pushed into Belgium and France, the Allies attempt to cut them off by pushing their forces north. Germany followed suit, each attempting to outflank the other in what is known as the Race to the Sea, a race neither side won. Blocked in both directions, the two factions dug in and tried to gain any ground they could. In an unparalleled act of humanity, British and German soldiers agreed to a ceasefire on Christmas Day. Both sides entered no man's land to exchange gifts and started a game of football. Others took the time to rest, repair their trenches, and recover the dead. This act of compassion was never to be repeated for the remainder of the war. Soon after the event, orders came down. Push forward, take new ground, defeat the enemy. We have 700 national will for both the allied nations and the Central Powers. National will is basically how much of that faction is willing to continue the war. If you get a national, another faction national will to 0, in this case, us, the allied nations, have to get the Central Powers national will to 0. The game is over and we win. So that is one way to win. We have 5 turns to start demoralizing them. There is an encyclopedia on how to play. There are a lot of terms here in terms of game concepts, trench warfare. This is a very heavily based trench warfare game because World War I was very trench warfare based, much more heavily than other wars to my knowledge of history. So this is going to be a very different game. But the campaign map reminds me of war games, and even stuff like and I'll get into the battle map here in a second. The campaign map reminds me of stuff like war game Red Dragon, stuff like that. The Slytherin type war games as well. So that's kind of what I noticed about them. And I love this. I didn't quite expect to know what I expect about these war game type map, but I like it. But then the battle map kind of gets into the total war thing with how you manage your units. The Steel Division thing of how you place your units and place everything you need. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing here. I played about 2 or 3 hours of the demo on stream. It was great fun. I played about an hour of this on my own to refamiliarize myself. And it kind of just came flowing back to me. Not a lot of games that I come back to once or go to once for a demo and then come back to later. They don't come flowing back to me. The only ones that have done that is stuff like this or Terra Invictus. So good on them for making the concepts pretty easy to grasp. So we have 3 research points. I'll show you the research tree here. This is the entire research tree. You start with nothing. Nothing is unlocked except this mission region intel. And you are very likely to not get through the entire tech tree within a single campaign. You gotta pick and choose what you can get because this is a massive tech tree. You gotta make some sometimes tough decisions. So let's see. I think we have mission region intel. I think we're gonna stick with that for the moment. Infantry. Let's see what is our first badge. Efficient heavy artillery might be something we need, but let's look at so that's on the back burner. That is on the bubble here. We have trench, which is trench engineering. Unlocks the improved firing trench or purchase upgrade. That is very necessary. The voice crack wasn't, but the trench engineering thing is very necessary from what I'm using. And fighter planes is very necessary, so that locks this one for the moment. So we're basically down to, can we get improved helmets, or do we want to build further up one of these tech trees that we got in trench or flight and do something like that? We really can't do trench reinforcement because that is 2. Reduces supply cost of observation balloons by 20%. I use a lot of observation balloons, but I think the landing strip might be a bit of a better thing here. But also improved helmets. That is standard infantry soldier health by 25%. Let's do that one. So we're out of research points for now. We'll get more in the intern. We used aircraft in the past for entertainment and to dust our crops. Now we use them as birds of prey to hunt down enemy pilots or to throw explosives down to the ground. War, as always, spurs progress. We have +5 national will, so we're up to 705. Good for us. We have a little more they have to take down here in the long run. So the long run is the big thing you're going to hear me say a lot in this campaign. Let's see. So up here in the top right is your quest line. You can click on your quest and read kind of more what about it. You get your result, how long you have to do it, and what you got to do. Up here you get your encyclopedia and your settings. Down here, how much gold and how many supplies you have globally. You can purchase with the things here with gold. This is your research tree, which we just saw and spent a couple of minutes in together. Down here is who you're playing as in the current turn. There's the intern button, and there's what turn you're on. We're on turn 1, December 1914. And this is the campaign map. I'll kind of get into that more as we go on. So this is one of the few things I really do recognize where I'm headed. And I think I have a kind of a strategy on where I want to go with this first part of the campaign. Basically a domination victory. I would love to dominate and maybe try and get the Central Powers national will down to 0. I don't think we'll be able to do that very fast, but I think that's a viable strategy in the long run. So Paris.
On a de nouveaux ordres.
We have 3 French infantry corps. Right through here.
Attendez les ordres. De nouveaux ordres arrivent.
Let's see, global purchases. We only have right now, we have a national supply. We have a British air wing and a French air wing. In order to get tanks, we're going to have to do some research. Tanks are a bit far behind right now. That's flight. They're probably going to be in the engineering sector, if I had to guess. Yeah, tank warfare. 5 research points. We got to head down here quite a ways before we can get to them. We need a lot of research points. Alright, so let's see. So we get a French air wing. I would love some air. We're going to go ahead and move it to Chateau Thierry. I'm going to butcher a lot of these names, by the way, so I'm sorry in advance. French Elite Infantry Corps. That gives us some artillery. We have to...
Attendez les ordres. Tenez-vous prêts. Préparez-vous.
Get,
En marche.
all of these guys and move them to Châtillon-sur-Marne.
Attention.
Vosier. Leon might be a good place to start. So, another thing about this game, these are the National Will Value Stars. In order to take a hex on the map, based on what I've seen, I have not gotten that far because the demo was very, to me, I didn't go very far because I was learning. But what I got of the demo was very bare bones. Enough, like I said, to understand it. 2 National Will Stars. You basically have to take this same settlement twice in a row. If you do not get go for the next turn, it will gain that National Will Star back and you have to do it again. So basically, try to get a settlement 2 times in a row. Or in Sene's case, 4 times in a row. Luxembourg, 5 times in a row. You have to just keep bombarding the tile in order to start really getting somewhere. And that's where this game's longevity comes in. And the thing is, each campaign is going to be different. So, yeah. So let's sit off. We have plenty of troops in here.
On a de nouveaux ordres.
So let's go into
Attendez les ordres.
here and engage the battle. We're gonna have a major loss, so we're actually gonna cancel that.
Tenez-vous prêts. On avance.
Let's see what we can do here now. Auto resolve, likely outcome, major loss. Yeah. No. Stalemate. That's more like it. Let's go and engage this battle. The load times is pretty dang good, quite honestly. I can't complain about the load times. Yeah, I played this for about 2 or 3 hours. I've had a lot of fun with the last couple of hours that I played this. About an hour and a half with the demo. About an hour on a break today at work, and really enjoyed it, man. So I'm in this for the long run. I love this thing. I was just talking up how your load times are so good. And you take a while. Man, as our mission objective, defeat 10 German infantry companies. So we're on a snowy battlefield for this one. So we can't do without trenches. We have a trench here. $210 thing. We're gonna need supplies. That is a improved firing trench. So we're gonna start using kind of our better trenches here. Support structures, that's 150. Let's get an MG nest. And let's get some heavy field artillery out in the front here. We can build upon this if we need it.
Au rapport!
Au rapport.
Au rapport! Renfort au rapport! Renfort au
Ho
rapport!
ho ho ho.
Prêt. Renfort, prêt!
Renfort au rapport.
On est arrivé! On attend les ordres! Renfort au rapport!
So we basically filled in all of our
On
things
est arrivé!
here.
On attend les ordres!
That's what I want to do. Like I said, we don't have tanks, so we gotta really play this safe.
On est arrivé
These
après
guys
le
are
bataillon.
safe entirely because they're in the command central. If you are in command, the command trench right here at the back, any 2 units you have in there are safe from damage. Like, they cannot be damaged at all, except probably in rare circumstances. I've never had them be damaged. So, it's into a begin battle.
Attention!
Attention. So you know what? I think I'm going to go wrap this first episode here, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the battle in the next episode. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, turn on notification. And sorry for the cliffhanger, but I like doing this sometimes, especially in something like this. So yeah, I will see you next time for more Great War Western Front.